All right, greetings, guys. So I'm here with the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Matias Bueno, one of the Bueno Trinity, right? Like it's like three of y'all motherfuckers, ain't it? Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I do these interviews, guys, with some of the top tier students in the program to give you guys another perspective of what it's like on the other end of it. You know what I'm saying? And, really what I want. I didn't mean to do that. I hit the button by mistake, but we back. Really, what I wanted to ask today is just kind of like, you know, um, like what was your journey like before this? Like, tell me a little bit about what your health and fitness was before you even joined the program.
Yeah, well, I feel like my health and fitness was basically tied to being on sports teams. And because, like I think a lot of people experience in life, everything is kind of cut out for you from the ages of 0 to 25, where there's
Hmm.
always specific structure of everything to do. And then after that, you're kind of on your own. And so I feel like I was starting to fall a bit into that because I was playing football and you're working out because you have to be good for the team and all these things.
Hmm.
And as soon as that wasn't really a necessary requirement, you just kind of aimlessly wander and just hope that one day you don't end up looking like the people who you see out of shape or whatever the case is, right? But I didn't really know exactly what I was doing. Like I just kind of ate the way I ate when I grew up at my mom's house. And I didn't really work out consistently because it always fell to the wayside of other things, well, your career or seeing friends or you're tired and whatever. But eventually there just came a point where I said to myself, if I don't take a hold of this now, I'm never going to. And that was a big thing for me that I reflected on during COVID was when the world stopped, when everything is on pause, and all those things you have in the back burner, like what of how many of them are you actually going to do now? And I was thinking about that in this moment of being in a job that was difficult for me, schedule wise, and I remember just kind of having a reset moment at the end of the year, saying, okay, not like a New Year's resolution, but kind of
Yeah.
like, okay, how do I want to approach my life going forward, or at least the next 4 months? And my brother Nicholas obviously talked about your program and said, you should really do it. My other brother had done, he said you should really do it. So I decided that the investment in myself was going to be worth, without knowing exactly how it would turn out, like, but was going to be worth the education, the transformation, because it's more than just get ripped. The way I was looking at it was more than just, oh, you're just trying to get a summer body and get ripped for a specific thing and then you're done. Because
Yeah.
that's what I was doing before, anyways.
Mhm.
And so I think the what I could see in your approach and in the way that you were relaying information in the videos that I watched before we started was that you come more from a place of establishing sustainable long-term habits rather than this is a quick fix or a fad or a blah 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 and hop on the train because we all know those are BS and that
Yeah.
doesn't last. So that resonated with me. And then when I decided to do it, I was just excited to learn, absorb everything, and build sustainable habits for myself. And I think that the results speak for themselves.
Yeah, yeah. Tell me a little bit about that. Like, how would you describe your experience, through the entire program, and like, what kind of differences have you noticed in your fitness and in your life?
Well, I noticed that when you learn to be accountable and to create habits, that it makes a big difference in how you feel, how you look. Um, and I think the root of it for me is really just education. If someone is ignorant to something, it's not 100% their fault for not knowing, but it is their responsibility to go out and learn. And so I didn't get upset with myself for not knowing about the importance of macronutrients or, nutrient dense foods and foods that have as little ingredients as possible, kind of thing. I didn't really know a lot about that. And as soon as I started to learn and to kind of see what foods that I liked and what didn't, then it was almost kind of like you gamify it, like you're playing your own video game where you
Hmm.
decide, okay, well, I like this, I don't like that. this has this benefit. This is how I can incorporate it. This is how I can kind of play Tetris with the macros. And so my experience over time was really just I was learning, or I was through your guidance, I was learning myself how to do these things and how to implement and incorporate foods that I liked that were gonna help me achieve my goals in terms of what I looked like, how I felt, energy levels. Because it is more than just how you look. You could be shredded or you could be really out of shape, but how you feel internally is one of the most important underrated factors that is kind of intangible. And so I started to feel a lot better during the day. I felt more energy and I felt that I could really start to tell what foods were good for me and which ones were not good for me. And I think that was an important distinction that I didn't really understand before. And then when it comes to the actual exercise part, exercise, maybe, eating is 80% of the battle. I truly believe that. But exercising is obviously just as important. And I think learning the specific movements that are important
Hmm.
and how to balance a schedule of upper, lower, in between days, all those sorts of things. It kind of compounds on itself. And the funny thing is, actually, the other day I was at the gym and I was watching these guys. They were doing like a declined, ab crunch. And the one guy was very big, and the other guy was his in shape friend. And he was like, "Do I have to go all the way down?" He's like, "Oh yeah, you can go all the way down. I think so." I actually said to him, I was like, "Hey, like you don't actually have to go all the way down, because if you go all the way down and back up, then you're actually activating your hip flexor. So you're not really getting activation in your core, which is really what you're supposed to be doing if that's why you're crunching here." And he was like,
Hmm.
"What?" And I was like, "Yeah, yeah." I was like, "Here, only go down about 45 degrees and come back up and see how you feel." He's like, "Oh, wow, shit, I feel that a lot more." And I was saying to him, I was like, "Listen, man, I'm not saying this to you because I'm trying to be a dickhead or because I'm trying to act like I'm better than you, but because I received a lot of valuable information from my coach, and the transformation I've gone through is immense. And for me to not to share that with others, I think is I believe is morally wrong. Like if I can share something with someone for free and I don't have to it's something simple and I'm just giving to them without expecting anything in return, then I think that's doing a good thing." And I said to him straight up, I was like, "This is his Instagram page. I know if you go follow, watch all his videos, because sometimes, and I even struggle with this myself, people think you just have to throw money at problems and then it's going to fix things magically. But if you just use the resources you have, you'd be surprised with how many the results you can get for yourself without actually having to feel like, for you to fix a problem, you always just have to go spend money right away. It's the same thing as like, "Oh, I'm not feeling good. I need to soothe my emotions with food or buying clothing or whatever." Like, use what you have, because that's the important thing that's actually going to be sustainable in the long term. So I think that's the main principle I've learned kind of with the fitness and nutrition, is like using what you have, eating the foods that you like, and not trying to do anything super crazy. Obviously, there's some adjustments you can make here and there. And now I don't think, as long as I live in Canada, North America, or in places where it's very accessible, even in Fiji, is I know having protein powder is the ultimate nutrition hack for
Yeah.
sure. But yeah, like, if for whoever's watching this, I literally traveled to Fiji, which people could debate as a second or third world country in a lot of cases, and didn't lose any progress and was able to maintain what I was building on. And so you can go to a place like that and achieve those results without being an expert or having done this for 10 years, then it's possible for anyone. And you just have to be willing to take accountability with yourself, learn, implement, and just take action.
Cool. Well, I just want to say thank you, man, for sharing your story, and for anybody out there watching, yeah, what he said. All right, peace.